Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Saturday morning.
The deadly flu season has now killed 10 children, including one in the Carolinas, and officials warn the flu is far from over.
What's a mild illness for you could be a hospitalization or worse for somebody else.
The plea from officials this morning and the difficulty some families may find getting the medication they need. But first, Channel 9 is tracking some rain moving through our area. This is a live look from our Speedway camera where you can see the roads are wet from that rain overnight. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Elsa Gillis.
And I'm meteorologist Vicki Graff.
And we're in the Weather Center this morning. We have some rain that's kind of almost out, but more is coming.
That's right. So the steadiest rain, that is moving on out. We still have some light scattered showers right now. And this is what we'll see a lot of going through the day today. At any point we could see rain. Make sure you have that rain gear with you if you're heading out. Some scattered showers across parts of York and also Lancaster counties right now, closer to Waxhaw, Lancaster. This batch of rain, if it holds together, that's heading towards Steel Creek. I'd say within the next 10 minutes or so, and then the Arboretum by 7:15. Eventually that will be heading towards Indian Trail by around 7:26. Tracking some steadier rain closer to the lake near Mooresville, also near Huntersville, Statesville. This batch is moving north and east. Salisbury getting in on that as well. And then some light showers right now for the mountains. And the good news is temperatures are warm enough that we're not dealing with any wintry weather this morning. As we go through midday, we are going to see a little bit of a lull in the rain. Still can't rule out a few sprinkles here or there. The clouds will stick around throughout most of the day, and it's going to be warmer. In fact, we'll make it into the upper 50s this afternoon. I'm tracking some heavier rain that will push through later tonight. I'll time that out for you on Futurecast coming up in the next 10 minutes. Elsa?
We are following two breaking news stories this morning. First, in North Korea, leader Kim Jong-un has invited South Korea's president to meet. Kim Jong-un's little sister delivered the invite to South Korea's president overnight. This is video of the two meeting overnight, which is the most significant diplomatic encounter between the two countries in more than a generation. And breaking in Harrisburg, fire officials say the driver of this car slammed into a tractor trailer and went underneath the back of it. It happened around 2 a.m. on Highway 49 at Roberta Road. Fire officials say one person was hurt, but they're expected to be okay. It's not clear what led to the crash. Overnight, we asked Rowan County deputies if they've arrested this man, Tadron Sanders. He's accused of murdering a man in Salisbury. Deputies say Sanders shot and killed Gregory Yarborough on Gein Road yesterday, then ran from the scene. From Chopper 9 Sky Zoom, you can see a large area roped off on Gein Road. If you know where Sanders is, you're asked to call police. Turning now to the deadly flu epidemic. The CDC says the flu has now killed 10 children, including one in South Carolina. The state hasn't released much information other than that the child was from the Midlands region. This morning, the CDC says the flu season is so bad, 1 in 10 deaths in the U.S. last week were because of the flu or pneumonia. And doctors' offices and hospitals are still swamped with patients. The CDC says if you even think you may have the flu, stay home.
Don't pass your virus on to someone else. What's a mild illness for you could be a hospitalization or worse for somebody else.
The CDC is urging anyone who's gotten over the flu but never got the shot to do so once they're better. With the flu season being so bad, the FDA is now watching reports of shortages for the commonly prescribed drug Tamiflu. Adults usually take it in a pill, while kids take a liquid form. And we called to check the supply of Tamiflu and its generic form at 24 pharmacies across our area. 10 of them were out of either the generic liquid drug for kids or certain dosages of the generic drug for adults.
I just heard the other day how many had died from it. So, yeah, it's a big deal. And if you couldn't get the medicine that was going to help, that would really be bad.
Pharmacists told me most insurances only cover the generic form, forcing many to pay out of pocket for the brand name Tamiflu. Channel 9 is your source for this deadly flu epidemic, including the impacts on local hospitals, churches, and schools. You can find our complete coverage on WSOCTV.com. An imminent threat. That is how the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services describes a local psychiatric facility that helps teens. And the state says it is so bad, it recommended Strategic Behavioral Center in South Charlotte be suspended from Medicare and Medicaid and stop all admissions immediately until conditions improve. Channel 9 dug through the state's detailed report from a January investigation that included an allegation of a staff member striking a patient. This week, the state sent letters to the facility saying staff created an unsafe environment by failing to communicate the residents' patterns of living and history of violent behaviors to staff. The letter also says 10 residents were able to leave the facility and that residents destroyed wooden furniture and made weapons, which placed other residents and staff at risk. The report says the facility failed to secure unit doors and provide the supervision necessary to ensure the health and safety of residents. Health and Human Services says it's recommending a 23-day termination from Medicare and Medicaid due to non-compliance with the law. It says the imminent threat is ongoing. The investigation was forwarded to the Division of Medical Assistance. The state Medicaid office in Raleigh will determine if any action is taken based on this recommendation. We reached out to Strategic Behavioral Center for a response to these allegations, but haven't heard back. Now, this is not the first time the facility has come under fire. Back in November, we told you a former worker at the center was charged with statutory rape of a child under 15. At the time, the CEO told Channel 9 they conducted a thorough investigation. The charges were later dismissed. A traffic nightmare. Closed railroad crossings are frustrating drivers across Charlotte. Channel 9 even caught one driver actually getting stuck trying to cross, and several others confused, stopped and asked Eyewitness News reporter Stephanie Tinoco for directions.
We have seen dozens and dozens of drivers trying to make U-turns here on both sides of the tracks, looking for alternate routes, including an EMS truck with its sirens on. Railroad crews actually laid out these flares earlier to make sure people know the roads are closed.
Pounding, grinding, unbelievable noise that it's hard to explain.
Construction chaos. This woman told us she was woken up at 3 a.m. by crews working to repair this railway crossing on Sharon Amity and Monroe Road. It's one of a series of railways being repaired in the area.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is happening?
And her 2-mile commute to work took nearly an hour because of the traffic backups.
I think the highest I got at one point was 5 miles an hour.
Other drivers weren't so patient. This driver tried to go around the road closed signs until her car got stuck on the tracks. The woman told me off camera she was in a hurry to see a doctor.
Oh my goodness, that probably would have been me because I want to get there. Like it's 200 feet away.
Channel 9 has been tracking these railroad crossing closures all week. Our cameras capturing cars, even school buses going through closures. Drivers say they're frustrated.
The detours are going to dead ends, not well planned at all.
And worry this inconvenience could also be dangerous.
What about the EMS? You know, if somebody's, got a life and death situation.
EMS tells me they have multiple trucks strategically placed all around the area, and they're all GPS tracked so that they're in constant communication with dispatch to make sure that they can respond as soon as possible. Reporting in Southeast Charlotte, Stephanie Tinoco, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
A CSX spokesperson told Channel 9 recent actions of drivers are deeply concerning and dangerous to crews. CSX says it's been in contact with police, but says CMPD cannot commit full-time resources to construction areas. Happening in the next 90 minutes, the CMS School Board will continue its retreat with a focus on the future. Yesterday, they discussed leadership dynamics, board oversight, and communication protocols. One thing top of mind for school leaders, universal pre-K. Superintendent Clayton Wilcox calls it a good first step to give every student a good education.
Making sure that all young people have the same opportunities to be successful in life. I think for many kids it begins with pre-K. It's probably the most equitable approach that we can take to leveling the playing field.
So far, Mecklenburg County officials have not made any decisions on whether to fund universal pre-K. Today, board members will sit down again to focus on their district goals and equity among students. CMPD police officers and ATF agents are coming together to catch violent criminals plaguing Charlotte neighborhoods. Anchor Allison Lotta sat down one-on-one with Wayne Dixie, the special agent in charge of the Charlotte ATF office. He says agents and officers teamed up in a violent crimes task force, going undercover and gathering intelligence on the streets right now to stop the most dangerous criminals.
People that are the trigger pullers, the ones that are going out and doing all of the shootings and intimidating witnesses. Firearms trafficking is another one.
Dixie says they're also focused on carjackings, gun shop burglaries, and busting criminal organizations. Rock Hill police arrested 3 more people, including a 14-year-old. They're accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of guns and ammo. Our partners at the Herald report, Diamante Johnson, Reginald Yarborough, and a 14-year-old who was not shown are charged with first-degree burglary. Police say they were with Davion Bryce and Madeline Kelly last month when 3 guns were stolen from a home on Tate Road. Hundreds of rounds of ammo were also stolen. Happening this morning in Raleigh, thousands of people are expected to rally at the state capitol for the 12th annual Moral March. This is the first year Dr. Reverend William Barber won't lead it. He's the former head of the North Carolina NAACP chapter. The organization's new president says today's message won't be addressed to lawmakers.
My message is to the people that I'm going to be speaking to, and that message is take your resistance to the ballot box, and let's vote these individuals into oblivion. Let's vote them out of office.
Today's march comes 1 month after federal judges ruled the state's congressional maps favored Republicans and needed to be redrawn. The NAACP says it sent lawmakers a letter asking to work together on the process, but it hasn't heard back. Prayers, balloons, and music honored a Charlotte teen who died last year. Last night, the family of Shania Hammonds held a small gathering on Beatties Ford Road a year after her body was found behind her East Charlotte home on Willowgate Lane. An autopsy report released in December said the medical examiner's office doesn't know how she died. Hammond's mother previously told Channel 9 she believes someone killed her daughter. CMPD has only said it's treating the case as a death investigation. The time is 7:11 right now. You're taking a live look outside right now from our Speedway cam. Meteorologist Vicki Graff has an update on your forecast from Severe Weather Center 9.
And the sun is now up, but we are dealing with low clouds, and throughout most of the day, at any point we could see rain. It's all part of this massive system spanning across the southeast. Get ready for a very unsettled, not just weekend, but week ahead. We have some advisories, in fact, flood watch for the mountains, the foothills, and then dense fog advisories for Lancaster and Chesterfield counties. That goes until 10 o'clock. Right now, visibilities are limited, especially as you head further south of Charlotte. So not only are we dealing with slick roads from the rain, but we're also dealing with that fog. Going through the day today, at any point we could see rain. Highs today getting into the upper 50s. It's going to be warmer tomorrow. I'll be pinpointing when we could see 70 degrees coming up.
The massive Equifax data breach is worse than originally thought. New at 7:45, the private information hackers obtained that Equifax is just now telling you about. A deadly combination. Police say kids are using a type of marijuana oil with e-cigarettes.
This is something that's affecting everyone. And when you
The information students may not be aware of and the major impact on one local county. The multi-state search continues for a man kidnapped from Burke County. Next, the videos investigators say are shedding new light on the case.